previously we've done a little chat on mastering engineers. What is mastering? Should you do your own mastering?
Right.
What are your thoughts on remastering?
Like existing recordings.
Yeah, exactly. Because you've recently been involved with some of that with the Elliott Smith stuff that you've done, and
yes,
and we all end up getting especially older recordings that were once mastered for digital and for early CDs, and
right.
So we see multiple versions. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, all these kind of classic albums, and they constantly are getting remastered.
Well, the first thing I think is I wish the general public and the media would understand that there's a massive difference between remixing and remastering.
Yes, well.
Because many times I've worked on some stuff like Elliott Smith's what did we do? We did the first 3 solo records. We remastered all of those: Roman Candle, self-titled, and Either Or, all remastered with and not in all cases, but the last 2 have bonus tracks too. In 1980 or early 90s, whatever, like I kind of mentioned in the other mastering conversation, no one knew what mastering really was in the digital realm, like for CD, especially for really tiny labels and stuff. If they had a thing that kind of flowed, it sounded like a record that just got put out. Mm-hmm. It might be a tiny bit of limiting or normalization down to that track where you just bring it up to the highest peak level, and that's where the song sits or the album sits. Okay, so that's all you had. It was really not mastered. Not even the way you would have done it for vinyl, where you're clicking in some EQs and limiting and summing the bottom, low end, all those things. So in cases like these records, which are on Kill Rock Stars and Cavity Surge, these small labels, and turned out to be some of the better selling records for these labels. Now it's like, okay, 20 years later or whatever, we can use much better converters if it's still on tape or something. We can get better quality copies coming off the tape deck. We can gain more information on that front, so we're going to have more fidelity, more depth to the recording. A lot of the technology has changed. A lot of mastering technology has changed. We can gain fidelity. We can prep these sessions. Like all these records I've worked on, most of them I've gone into Isotope RX, and I'm I'm cleaning little pops and clicks and super loud, like guitar chord scrapes when he's moving between chords, and it's like on a cheap mic, it's just going to sound raspy, and I'll just kind of tuck those in, not to try to take away too much authenticity or whatever, but it's a difficult process, and it's always like better or worse, lots of A-Bing and listening. But I think people get up in arms when things change, things that they worship, or they have an emotional connection to for many, many years. They get up in arms. So you always have to try to be as respectful as you can and not change too much.
Yeah.
But you try to do subtle things that somehow help rebalance that record and make it even better. You can restore a clarity that was missing to an album. Sometimes even remixing records, or certain records like Pink Floyd's Animals comes to mind, or the Chills' Brave Words, where the record's been fully remixed, and it does have a clarity and a sort of something that was lacking, and a power to it that was kind of lacking from just a slightly off mix or something in the first place.
Yeah, and especially, to that point, with Giles Martin remixing some of the Beatles stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 releases. I mean, and what's cool about that,
exactly.
which makes me nervous about doing the Elliott Smith, is slowly the label seems to be, in my case, replacing the old records with these new masters. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do. I think they're better, but now, are we getting away from the artist's intent?
Right.
Was the mastering something the artist even cared about? I doubt it. But, are people upset? Maybe. With the Beatles stuff, people get way upset because it's the Beatles, right? And the regular record is in a beautiful remastered previous form that sounds as good as we're probably ever going to get.
Right.
And you can get high definition of that, and you can check out this other mix and see if you like it or not.
I think it's cool.
I think it's great because I hear details and stuff sometimes, or you hear a more solid bass guitar. It's great. Cool.
Yeah,
that's neat.
And I obviously love those Beatles records.
Yeah.
but I've heard them a million times. It's nice to hear those songs in a new presentation.
And there's songs like Long, Long, Long on the White Album. It was just a beautiful song that you could almost barely hear on the original vinyl pressings and stuff. It just seems kind of lost, and CDs almost made it worse. And the remix version of that is great. Even the remaster preceding that too really helped. But the remix is like, oh my God, that song has just got this character and texture to it. And it's like, now I hear it, you know. And so when I work on the Elliott records too, I think about that, like which song never has jumped out to me and why. So when I'm remastering, I'll be like, oh yeah, that one of his no-name songs or something, I would always think it all kind of disappears to me a little. So let's spend a little more time focusing on that and try to make the vocal a little clearer or something so that we're kind of more engaged with it emotionally.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we've helped improve the music.